Hello, welcome. My name is Mr. Afri, and I want to make this video as a classroom learning. If you watch this video, after you must have purchased this video, because it's for paid people. So I will take you through on how to edit a video using your laptop. There's equally a course I did on how to edit your video using your mobile phone. So this course, they are both for sale and it's not expensive. It's just for 1,000 naira. So you can just purchase them, and then within the time of purchasing them, you can ask me questions so I can put you through. So I wish you the best of luck as you move into this. So from the system aspect, I'm going to be using a software called Premiere Pro to teach you Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, one of the things you're going to learn from me today is that I'm going to show you where you can get this software, how you can download them, and then install them. So to get this software, you can easily go to any of your, where they sell softwares, maybe your shop in your area, and purchase this software. Or probably you can go online and use, on the screen you'll see the name is getintopc.com. When you get into the, is a web address, getintopc.com. So when you get into the, type Adobe Premiere Pro. Depending on your laptop, you can go for at least from 2017 above. It's called Adobe Premiere Pro CC 2017 or 2019, 2020, 21, 20. So I can recommend you start from 2017 from there. So when you download this thing, you install it in your laptop. So from there, you can proceed. So when you download, you can go and check my YouTube channel, Afri Multimedia. You see how to download this software and how to install it. But let me just show you using this section. Like I said, this is a special class for people, so you must be patient enough. Every minute you spend on this is very important to you, and it's very important to me, so you understand everything. Don't rush. You bought this course and you have to learn it very well. So just type into your system, get into PC. So when you get that software, is how to install it is there. You'll see a folder that shows you how to install the software. It's very easy to install as long as your system merits the qualification. As long as your system has an average of 4 gig RAM, 500 hard disk space, even 200 hard disk space can do that. But just make sure you install it, and when installing, just read through the manual for installation. You understand it. So after that, let's dive into the major thing. Let's get into the software. So when you open the software, the first thing you see is comes out like this. Let me close this software and let's start afresh. I click on the software. After installation, it's going to open right now. So while it's opening, let me take you through. Adobe Premiere Pro is a software that enables you to do video editing perfectly. So if you want to run into editing a video for professional use, for big companies, for movies, for skit making, for something I'm doing like this, you can use Premiere Pro. It's a professional software that enables you to run everything you want to do. So I'm doing this class for people who already know, for people who are in basic class, you don't know anything about editing video, those people who have already started something, and possibly professionals, because professionals no knowledge. There's some things you know that learning this too can help you. So right now our software is open here. So what you are seeing here on the screen is, because I've been working with this software, you are seeing things like the first one, you say Premiere Pro tutorial. I've already created a project on how you can run this on this particular tutorial I'm doing right now. So you see other things I've done. These are recent documents, files I've worked with. By the left hand side, you see lens, synchronized settings, and other things. You see new project, open project. Now let's start from what is a project. Before with that, let me introduce you to the things we are going to be learning from. Let's have a guide so that we won't just be doubling around. Okay, let's open this and start from beginning. From here we'll have Adobe Premiere Pro tutorial. So I made up this from the advanced install that I did. I made up this for learning purposes. First thing is creating a new project. What is a project? Let's start from there. A project is, let's imagine that somebody gives you a wedding job to edit. Somebody gives you let's say a skit to edit. Somebody gives you a documentary to edit. At that moment, that documentary becomes a project. Let's say somebody gives you a movie. Let's say the name of the movie is I Don't Care. So in that movie I Don't Care, the movie has different scenes. So, but the movie itself is what is called a project. Let me give you an instance again. Somebody build a house. Inside the house, we have different segments, toilets, and everything. The house is a project. So when somebody pick up a project to do, the person is picking up a new assignment to do. So at this moment, we are creating a new project. When you open this, as a new beginner, when you open this, you're not going to see anything at all. You're only going to see all this place is going to be empty. So let's start from a new project. We'll start from clicking new project. Now, you have to put the name of the project you're writing. Let's assume you are going for a project for a film or anything, documentary. Let's use the word. Let me use the word I'm doing. Let me say Adobe. Okay, let me say video editing. Video editing. Okay, let me say video editing tutorial. Let's add it. Please take your time. Like I said, this video is going to be intensive training. So you have to take your time and watch this. Take it. It can take 10 minutes each, so you can at least understand this project. Relax, buy popcorn, I'm listening. Okay, the next one is location. This is very important. When somebody gives you a work to do, it's important to create a folder on your system, copy the work inside that folder, then so that anything you are going to work with, both your music, your pictures, your videos, everything should be in that folder. This will enable you to avoid some errors that you may make in the process of this work. Let's dive in. First thing, let's browse so I can select the particular place our work is. So right now I have tutorials. That's the place I want it to be. I click OK. Now leave every other thing the way it is and then click OK. So as this thing is loading up, you can easily find this from top of here. You see Adobe Premiere Pro 2019. See, that's computer users, HP user, desktop, jobs, tutorials, Premiere Pro, video editing tutorial. So this is where I save the work. So you see the address on top of this place. Let's dive in more without waste much of our time. So next thing you are seeing here, we have created a new project. Next thing we are seeing here is, let's say, sequence settings. Sequence settings. But for now, let's save the sequence settings. Let's get into the next one. They say workspace. I'm going to teach you the best way you understand this. Now, all this place you are seeing here is the workspace. This is the workspace you are looking up to. The workspace. The workspace can be adjusted depending on what you're working on. So the first one by your left here is the source. The source means the place you're getting your video from. Now, you have the lumetri scope, you have the effect control, you have the audio. Now, all these things are different areas that enable you to work on different things depending on what you are doing. So for now, the most aspect you're going to focus more on is your source, your project. If you watch, this is your project, and if you watch, this is your timeline. They say no sequence yet. They said program, no sequence yet. So this is your lumetri color. This is your essential graphics. But for now, the next thing we should be talking about is after this, you can adjust any of this. You can adjust this panel. You can adjust this panel. You can adjust this panel. This is my 2 panel. You can adjust all this panel. Now, in the course of making a mistake, let's say you can mistakenly make a mistake and click something like this. Maybe the whole thing changes. You don't need to worry yourself. You just come back to under color. You see color here now. We'll just say reset saved color. Everything comes back to normal. Now, I choose color here because there are different methods here. So let's dive into choosing editing, because we're working on editing. You have to understand editing first before we dive into color. Let's click on editing. It's going to adjust our, how would I call it, our interface, you understand, to give us more room to edit. Because if you watch now, that lumetri color we saw by the left hand side is no longer there. So by now we're working more on the color. So if you click on the effect, it will give us the interface that requires us to work on the effect. If you watch by here, we now see effect. So the same thing, if you click on audio, it's going to allow you to reset the whole thing to your audio so that you make use of more of your audios. You see essential sound. So these are areas we're going to work more. So before now, let's get back to into our audio, into our editing, because editing is what we are working on at the moment. Now, how do we start working? Let's look up. We are done with our that. Let's get into the after workspace. Next one is importing. Let's import. Importing has to do with bringing in the images, the videos, the pictures, the audios you want to work with inside Adobe Premiere Pro. So there are many ways you can do that. First way is click on this place. You see this place they wrote under project video editing. You see this place, you can right click there and you select import. Once you do that, you can see this particular video. That's the video we want to import. We open it, we can select all of them and then clicking open. It's going to import here. It's importing right now. Now this is one way of importing a video into your Premiere Pro so that I can start working with it. If the video is in your system without importing it into the software we're going to work with, you end up not working with it. So that's one way. So as it's loading now, I'm going to show you the second way and probably the third way. Now, see the videos are here already. We're making a headway. So the videos are here already. So the next thing right now is, let me show you another way. Let me select all of them and delete it. Let me show you another way. Let's go and locate where our videos are. These are our videos here. We can decide to click on the folder of our video and drag it here and drop it here. That's another way of importing. Now, if you open the folder, you see all our videos are here inside this place. That's another way of importing. Let's delete this. You can equally go to under file, you see import, click on import, and then you select Ctrl A, select all of them, and click on what? Open. That's another way of importing. Let's delete this again. Another way of importing, which is shortcut, is pressing by Ctrl I. Press Ctrl I, and you select your videos, Ctrl A, select all of them, and then your videos are imported. So these are different ways of importing. Let's find the next one. I'm trying to teach you with practical examples so that you won't end up learning something without practical example. So that's why I have to jump some things. I'm going to come back to them and show you those ones. But let me just show you the things you need to start off immediately. So next move, the one is moving clips into the timeline. Now we have imported these clips into the timeline. What is next thing that requires we need to do? What's next thing we need to do? Next thing we need to do is we need to start. Editing is all about removing and adding the things you don't want. That's one about editing. Yes, you get, when you video somebody, you edit it. What people are trying to say is this: remove what you don't want and add what you want. That is this, addition and subtraction. That's what editing is all about. So just to add or to remove. So once you get that, so right now, how do we start editing our clips? Don't forget, I showed you about source here. When you double click on each video here, it will show here as is on the source aspect. So what this is saying is this: from here you can now pick the areas you want. Let's take for instance that you are interviewing somebody, which is what I'm going to use as an example here. The person will say my name here. Maybe they don't know the things they want to say incomplete. They'll first of all say their name here, and then you cut the next one. They will say they are from so place. So what we want to do is just to get a place where they say their name, and then you add it to the timeline. You get a place where they say they are from this social place, you add it to timeline to join all of them together. That's what editing is all about. So basically, let's take for instance the first one here. Let's play it off and see what the man started off with. Let's play.
Anambra youth volunteers are indigenous and responsible Igbo youths who devote their time, resources, and energy to assist the state government and security agencies for a better society.
Now, you said it here. You said Anambra State this and da. So that's what. So at this moment now, we have seen. We want to pick this area where he said this. You get, and then we'll jump into other videos and pick areas where he said other things. Let's take for instance in the movie when somebody said, "I hate you, I hate you." Oh, the person will respond, "I love you, I love you." You get. So that's what this is trying to be about. So when you pick the image where the person say, "I hate you, I hate you," that person will say, "I love you, I love you." So at this moment, we're going to pick all these things one after the other. That's what editing is all about. I want to pick the other side and pick the other side. So at this moment, let's dive into it. Now, there are tools that enables you to do all these things. There are tools that enable you to do all these things. So let's check and know the next two I have here. Okay, they say moving clips to your timeline. All right. Okay. Now this is our timeline here. But at the same time here, there's no video on our timeline. So we have to start moving this clip to our timeline. You get? So to do that, there are many ways you can do that. We can still decide to just carry this one and put here. Just drag it and drop it on timeline. It's going to create a sequence for you. That's what creative sequence is all about. So, but the other way, that's one way. And once you do this, anything you see here on this video here, anything that plays on this program file, when you export it, that's what you're going to see. That's what your video is made of. So from the source panel that will help you to play the video and see what you have. From that source panel, you now bring it to the timeline. From the timeline, you'll be seeing it on the program file. So anything you see on the program file, you make adjustment from the source panel, bring it on the timeline, then you now watch it full on the program file. So as long as you are comfortable with what's on the program file, that's what will enable you to say, "I am done with this job." Are we good? Yes, you are good. So let's move into the next one. So now I've shown you how you can bring this, and then from the timeline you can click and drag this around. What enables me to click and drag this around is because on my two side, beside here, you can see it here. I see the first one, they call it the selection tool. Selection tool enables me to move these two around. You get to move these videos around. Now, before we dive into working with most of these things, let me show you the things we have here in the timeline. If you watch, we have on the timeline, we have the view 1, and under it we have the A1. The V means the visual, while the A means the audio. So on the V, if you watch, if you click on the video and move it along, two of them are moving together. Do you get now? But we can separate the two videos. We can separate the audios from the video. It's because the video has an audio. That's why you are seeing two of them. So, but imagine the video does not have an audio. When you import only the video, it only stay on top. It will not have a video it will not have an audio that matches it. So at this moment, you can see, you see the audio 1, the video 1, video 2, video 3. We have the audio 1, 2, 3, and you can create more of this. But for now, that's not why we are here. Let me delete this. Let me delete the video there. And let me show you how you can work with the source monitor to put video in your timeline. Let's go back and play. This will take this, go to in. Now, let's make this like this. Let's use this line to shrink this. So let's play this from beginning and say, before the man starts, let's see. And now the man is about to say, Anambra, you volunteer. Now, the man is about to say, Anambra, you volunteer. Now, from this Anambra, you volunteer. Now, there is a particular icon here that enables you to work on selecting a particular place in between a place. Let's say a video. Let's say I've been talking about this while. You just want to select the place I said A and A. So there's something that enables you to start from in and ends in out. You get, so the places you want to. So I want to select the in. How you can select the in is if you come to this your source, you see a place they wrote this icon that says mark in. Is a bracket. This bracket that says like this. You say mark in. So click on that mark in and then play. And I'm like you volunteer. Then from there you play when you play it and then done. So once you play it, you know where you want to mark in and out. You just mark the out. So once the out is already there, you now drag it. Now let me show you one of the ways to drag. One way to make sure this thing comes to timeline is there are many ways. One, if you come to the video here and drag, click on the video and drag it down here, you discover that what you drag is the audio and the video. That's it. Let's delete it. If you come to this icon on top of here, and then you see the first one said drag video only. If you click and drag, you discover that there's no audio, only the video. You get now. If you try to bring this thing down on the audio side, it's not going to work. So let's delete it. On the other side too, you can drag only the audio and put it on the audio side. If you try to move it where there is view 1, V2, it's not going to work because it's an audio file. At this moment, let's drag. Let me show you another way. Another way is this. If you come to this icon here, you say insert. So you can click on insert. The insert works from anywhere this line here that is moving is called a time marker. So that time marker enables you to know where your video is as it's ticking, as it's going. Just like clock handler. You get now. So as it's moving, if it's in 1, you know it's 1 minute. If it's in 2, you know it's 2 minutes. If it's in 3, you know it's 3 minutes. Or depending, or in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So this is when it's a time marker. It marks time for you. So that's it. So anywhere it starts, let's say in between here now, and I click on insert, it's going to insert the video in between the two videos, in between the video, and push the other one, the rest of it. So that's what this insert does. So at this moment, I just have this video here on my timeline, and I can play. So at this moment, I've already placed this here, the first aspect of it. So the next one is this. Now let's take, for instance, we have in the other side where he says something of different nature. Okay. Let's wait until he starts. Okay. You want to start? Okay, we'll mark him from here and then let's play.
Volunteer qualifies members from benefiting from the capacity building, the training and youth empowerment program.
Let's stop from here because of time. So let's assume that from here, that's what we want to just mark out. Now the other ways these ways now you can equally do that. You can drag from beginning from the video and then drop it here, so that once this one finish playing, it will play the next, all those things, just like interview. My name is so and person says this. So as the time is marking, once you get to the other one, you're going to see, you will see it will turn the other video. So that's what it's all about. That's what video editing is all about. Now I can delete this. If I want to use the insert method, I will take this to the where I want the video to start, which is the edge of the last video, and click on insert. Now immediately after the last one, it will insert that place automatically. Do you understand this? Yes, you do. All right, so that's what this marking in and marking out is all about. So let's check in our next one. Okay, working with multiple tracks. Let's go into working with multiple tracks. So this has to do with tracks. This is a audio track 1, track 2, track 3, audio 1, 2, 3, 4. So from here, you can discover that you can adjust this audio size and then things like that. So for now, let's assume your video is not loud enough. If you come to your audio is not loud enough. If you come to the audio side of it, you see a line that draws around through the audio. Once you click on the line, you take it up. You take it up to the end. That means you have increased the audio volume. Let's play, you see. Now, if you think it's not enough, it's not good enough, like it's too much, let's say the audio is not enough, you want to add more audio, that's when you start adding more other filters by right clicking there, and you see where they call gain audio. From gain audio, you can increase, I suggest 5, so at least your video should not have much noise. You don't play it, so the noise has increased, the volume has increased to an extent. Okay, I can adjust this a little bit. I can adjust the next one. Now let's assume you have multiple audios. You have up to 10 audios down, and you want to place them down. You can add more audios by coming to this place where I click and say add track. You're adding the track. Then you can say what do you want to add. Placements after video 3. Do you get now on the audio? So if you do want just video or you want the audio too, you can say I don't want I don't want the video. What I want is just the audio. So at this moment, I can just right click and say add tracks. I will place the 0. My video is 0, and I can say my audio. Let me add 2 audios. Then I will say okay. If you watch my video still remains the 3, but my audios has increased to about 6. I think so. Let's go back. About 6 of them. So we now have more audio tracks because what I just wanted to add is just more audio, and you can add as much audio as you want. Now let's dive into about the audio. From the audio side, you see an icon here, say M and S. M means mute. Mute means stop, don't play, like stop the sound. I don't want the sound to be part of the video. Just mute it. And once you click on that, it's going to mute that particular line. Any audio that is on that line to the end is going to be mute. The next one is solo. Solo means I just want the audio, only the audios on this particular video to play. Every other audio on this video should be mute. Do you get now? So if there are 3 different audios down the line, and if you solo a particular line, that line is going to be the only line that will play, while others will not play. But when you mute that line, only that line. So how do I edit clips from the timeline? Let's assume that this clip ends here based on what we marked out. We want to extend it. We can come here and click on the edge and then extend it based on what we want. You understand? Now let's play it. Now it's stopped from the timeline now, but the man is looking at his phone before he can get the next thing he wants. What do we have to do? Just come there. We can use the tool we call the eraser tool here. Like I said, I'll be teaching you in the process. The eraser tool here. When you click on the eraser tool here, we'll come to the timeline, and then we'll make this thing to show very well. Now before the man start talking, we now cut on that. We now click, use the eraser. It's kind of razor. It means to cut something. You know, razor you used to cut something. So use it to cut this particular thing. So once we're done with that, you can move this thing to the other side. When the man finished talking, the first thing he said. Now we'll cut again. So now we now go back and select our selection tool and click on the middle. If you watch now, we've been able to delete. We've been able to separate these two into 1, 2, 3. We separated them into 3 videos. So, but we want to delete the middle one. We don't want it because the man is not saying anything from there. We just press delete. Now this is one way you can do that. If you do that, that space is going to be empty. You can right click there and say ripple what? Delete. It's going to join automatically to the next one. Another way we can do that is this. Now after cutting it, we just right click and say what? Ripple delete from here. You're going to delete, remove that particular video you want to remove and still move it together. That's one of the ways. Another way you can do that is when you delete this thing, you can easily drag this thing here. But why this one now is not good to understand, because if you make a mistake, you may enter the next clip mistakenly. So, but anyone that works for you is still very, very visible. That's one of the ways you can edit from the timeline, how to cut from the timeline. Now, I'm showing you how to cut from the source manager, from the source panel, and now how to cut from the timeline. So that's one thing. So let's get into the next one and see the next thing there. Okay, I've shown you the audios. Now, the next one we're looking at here is your transition. Now, how do you work with transition? Transition is another thing that is very important that makes a video very interesting. Let's take, for instance, all these places that the man, this video has been cut like 2-3 times, different. So let's bring in another man into the system. Let's in between here bring another man into the system. So let's take, for instance, the man is talking. Then we take this. Let's drag this one and put here. Now put this one here. Let's assume. Let's place this one here. Let's move this one here. Then place the other one too. Now let's place this man too here. Sorry. Let's drag this man and play this man here too. So at this moment we'll have different persons available, different people appearing in the video. Let's assume you're doing a video for different kind of person. So transition requires depends on what you are doing. You get. So at this moment now, let's come to how do you get our transition. Just come to the panel by the left hand side. You click. If it's not showing somewhere here, you can adjust this thing. It may show up. You click on your effect control. Under effect control, you will see things like the first one, preset, Lumetrix preset, audio effect, audio transition, then video transition, and then video effect. So let's click on our video transition. Let's work with video transition first. So one of the ways you can do that is, if you want to apply a general transition on this, just click Control A, click one and select Control A. On the timeline, click all the videos on the timeline, select all the videos on the timeline, and press Control D. It's going to add the transition in between all of them. Now let's play so you can see it. You see now, it has now transit into the other video. Let's remove them. Now there are many different transitions we can work with here. The first one is 3D emotion transition. You can just pick up here and place in between the two clips so that you see the way it transits. That's why you place transition. If you watch now, transition has to do with how the video moves from the other aspect to the other aspect. This thing can be used to create different things. Please do well to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be teaching some of these things small. So do well to go and subscribe. So you can just click, drag and drop, and put in between the two clips, and then you see now these are different transition. I believe you've seen the transition. So if it's taking too long to transit, you can adjust the transition by coming to that transition, go towards the end, and adjust it a little bit. You see, let's play again. It now went faster. So there may be another transition there. You can go and check out other transition. Don't look at my panel. You may not see some transition on your own because I have some plugins, external plugins that I got. So you can see some other things like cross zoom. Let's do this. Now some of this thing goes hand in hand, so you can place it at the end of a clip or beginning of a clip. Let's take, for instance, this one. Yes, you normally see this kind of stuff. So let's play this one too from the beginning. Let's see how it works. You get now. So this one is called a cross zoom transition. So this is dependent on you. So I'm just showing you this for you to see. Spend your time, and if you watch, I'm breaking this thing down into different segments and sections. And then anyone you don't understand, make sure you send me questions so I can answer you immediately. You get. So it's very important you reach out to me after getting this course. So now you've seen what transition is all about. So you can go more, add more transition, explore this. I've just shown you this is possible. So go and explore this and work often and be creative in your dealings. So the next one I see here is titles and text. Now, working with titles and text is all about, let's say you want the name of this man to appear as the man and start talking. What do you have to do? Go back to our timeline here. Now, if you watch here under my tool settings there, you see the first tool here called type 2. You can click on that tool and come here and click on the program file. With that, it will create something for you here. So once you have something like this, you can type anything. Let's say Mr. Ebuka. You get. So you come back and click on this move to, so you can move this thing. let's go back and adjust this thing. Let's put it capital letter, Mr. Ebuka. So guys, in texting, once you just do that, I can see the name here. You just click there, Mr. Ebuka. So from there you can, let's say how you can change the name of this particular. Double click here. You go to your effect control. Now effect control is where you can see the controls of Mr. Ebuka. Under effect control, you will see text. Under text, click on the icon. You'll see the color. From here, you can change the color to, let's take for instance this. You change the color. You can see the color is changing. But we can't see it. Let's change it to yellow. We'll go up here. Click on yellow. Very well. Click on OK. See, it's changing. We can move this thing around to another place, possibly here. Let's take it back to white. Sorry, yeah, probably to white. Let's go back to white. Okay, take this back to white. Now there are a lot of things you can do here. If it's multiple things, you can exchange this to be at the center, depending. So this, you can change the kind of the first thing you have to change. You can change the text. That's how it appears. That's the properties of this. You get. You can change it. Yeah. So the next one, you can change how it appears, whether bold or italics or the size. Then you can adjust this. So these are the areas. These are some things you can really do here to make adjustments. Then you want them to be bold and things like that. So that was just it. So you can come down and see. This is the one way. This is one way of doing this. So let's check into another way of doing this, where we can see more properties about this and make changes to this. Now, using my own system, once you press Ctrl T, this comes up. Ctrl T comes up. Let's say we type Mr. Ebuka, the name. You click OK. Now it's going to give us the box, the full panel for this. So from here, you can just come back again, click on this. Let's take this point. You write again Mr. Ebuka. You can come here and select the things that looks like what you want. Again, so this one gives you the more platform and leverage to work on this and put what you want and adjust everything as you want it. You understand? Yes, you do. So that's basically it about this. So you can come here and go through all these things and see what they do. The colors, you can change the colors. But let's say you can select something like this, Mr. Ebuka, something like this. Let's change the color to something like black. From here, you can see it's different from this place. Gives us more room where we can adjust one or two things. You can bring it at the middle depending on what you want. You can move it around, doesn't matter. So you can, from here now, you can add what we call stroke. Stroke means the colors around the text. So let's add the inner stroke. Let's change the color to white. We'll have something like this. So you can see that Mr. Ebuka has an inner stroke. Let's increase the size of the inner stroke so you can see it very well. You can see, right? Yes. Let's change the color of inner stroke to something yellow. Okay. You can see it comes to that. So let's change the color of the stroke to, let's say, something black. And then let's change the color of the text to something yellow. Let's get out and change color of the text, something yellow. Come here and select the text, something like this. If you watch, so we can decide to. So this is for inner stroke. You can change it to work more with the outer stroke by coming down. This is stroke aspect. Let's take off the inner stroke and go for outer stroke. Let's add outer stroke. The stroke will come from the edge to outside. You can increase the size, let's say 15 or 14. As you can see, we'll have a black outer stroke. So guys, this is one of the ways you can add this, and you can move your text around depending on what you want. So this is basically a way of adding text. You can actually, from the text aspect, create a background. Let's say a background for the text. You want the background for the text to appear. You can use this particular icon to create something like this for it. Let's change the color to something like let's change the color to a different color entirely. Now if you watch, it's blocking that place. How do I put it down? Just right click and say under arrange. It says send to back. It's sent to back. So that one comes on. It now comes down to it. Now we don't want this stroke it has, because we've been working with the stroke. Let's remove the stroke, and then let's put the stroke, remove the stroke. You see what we have here. So this is not something that is not doable. It's something that is doable. We'll have it something like this. It's okay, guys. So from here you can go and manipulate all these things and know how you can get it done. So guys, that's what it's all about. So once you be able to do that here, you can see it's not appearing here. You have to go and drag it. That's the difference between this one. You can drag it and place it where you want it to place. Now remember, we've thought about let's delete the first okay, let's leave the first ebuka, the two ebukas there. Now let's see how they appear. I play it here. When you get there, they just appear. From here we can put transition to this. So let's go back to our transition, get something like video transition. Let's put zoom so that we'll see how it appears here. Let's play. You see how now, see how this now appears. You see how the first one just appear, bam, just appear immediately without a sudden, without any movement. But this one, the second one appears because we added a transition to it. You can go back and add different transition to that. Let's check the two. Let's put the two and then add the transition to add. Now you see the way the first one appears, the way the second one appears. This is just because of the kind of transition we put there. So guys, at the end of this, so we'll come to the end of this particular one. So the next one I'm going to talk about is not here, but I will add it to you. Is this ended in texting? But let's look at something. Let's look at coloring. Now you're done with this. How do we add 1 or 2 bit of color? Let's say the weather is too harsh or it's too cool. We want to make it a little bit harsh, a little bit cool. So how do you put this? How do you make this workable? You understand? So the first thing to do at the moment is, okay, let's come and click on our color so that we can change this to, click on this color. Let's click on color. Now this will enable us to just to make this, add this a little bit color, the image a little bit color. So on the image of the color, I can just come here. You see, the first one is basic color correction. So let's say this thing is too harsh. Want to tempt the temperature, want to put it down to, let's say to this side, maybe to have a warm temperature. We now reduce this to this side. Yeah, it's having a warm temperature, a cool temperature. If you go to the other side, it's going to be a hot temperature. So it depends on the kind of weather you want to achieve in your video. So the next one is tinting towards the purple side or tinting towards the green side. So this is just, there's no particular way of doing something. It's just you understanding that this is what you want. This is the visual. This is what you are visualizing. This is what you want to see. This is how you want your audience to feel, because color has to do with feelings. You get, you can't put something, you can't put a, you don't want your audience to feel warm and you're putting a cool temperature. So if you want the audience, as they're watching your video, they should feel hot. You get, so we put a very hot temperature to match what you have in your mind. Another thing is you can't be editing a horror movie and you want to put something that is cool. Horror movies most times are not cool. It depends on what you want to achieve. Like I said, everything is depending on you. I'm only teaching you the tools, so you go back and use this thing often and often. Please don't exaggerate these colors because it gets often, like before it becomes more boring to the eyes. So that's just it. So you go through these colors. The next one is creative. You can fade the colors, you can fade away. You get, see the way it's showing Abby. Some people like it. Me actually I like it. It's called film faded. I like it too in my, when I'm doing my films especially. So you can sharpen it by vibrance. You can make it more vibrance. You can reduce this. So for a color, you can make it black and white. You can make the colors so saturated. So everything is dependent on you and what you want. So from shadow tints, you can use the shadow, the shadows there. What color do you want them to have the tint? Let's take for instance, you want them to have this color tint. Are you seeing it now? It's making the changes. You see. So this is dependent on you, practically what you want. You get, double click here to take this thing back to normal. Under curves, you have RGB curves. When you click on this, when it's on white, is containing every colors. Just to the exposure, you can expose it. But from here now, let's say you want to reduce the red in it. You just click on the red and reduce it. Now you have more green, or you can increase more red on it. Let's on the green aspect, you can reduce the green to have more red. You can increase the green. On the blue aspect, you reduce the blue to have more this color. I don't even know what it is. So double click to get it back to normal. So that's what you have. The next color we'll have is hue saturation. So this is the place. All these things I'm just teaching you the basic hue saturation. This aspect are more like an advanced method of all these things. So, but for you to have a basic knowledge of this, just come to this place so you know what it's all about. If you want to reach your highlights, you work on your highlights. So this is just go through it and get to know what about it. So if you want to check out my tutorials on these things full time, each of individual these things, go and check my tutorials on each of them individually. You understand how these things function. This is a very broad software, and I'm just teaching you the everything, the structure and how things work here. So you must on your own understand this perfectly. Okay, next one is your curves. Okay, I have another one. So and so on and so forth. So just go through them and understand them and how they function. So finally, let's assume that I'm done with my colors and everything. Next thing is, how do I color grade? Like, how do I export my video so that I can send it to people, give it to my clients, put it in DVDs and other ones. So now comes to exporting your videos. Now you can come to your file here. Once you click on this all I call it, let's assume you want to export some part of this video. You don't want to export the whole video. You just go in from here and mark in where you want to export, and then the same out, you mark out. By marking out, I'm using the short form of I, and I in, I as mark in, and then O as mark out. So when you export this place, now only this place that you're exporting is the only place that we export. You get, this is the only place that we export, because you've already marked in. You said every function I do, everything I do, if I render this work, let it be between this area. That's what you're saying. So in essence, what you're saying here is, I just want to render this particular place and mark in and mark out. Remember when I was teaching you about marking in and marking out in the other place, you are only using that particular place. So now I'm teaching you that you can mark in and mark out and export only that particular place. But at the moment, I want to export the entire. If I say I don't want to, let's say clear in and out, it means I'm going to export the entire clip. It means even if there's a hidden clip inside in the 30th hour, it's going to export. So that's why most times when you're done working, make sure you mark in from the area you want to start to export, and then come to the angle you want to stop exporting. Once you've done this, if there be another clip that is outside that place you're working from, it's irrelevant. So at this moment, once you're done with this, just click Ctrl M on your system keyboard. Then this export settings will come out. Now there are different export settings depending on what you want to achieve. So the first one, but I always want to, for using it for online anything, I always want to export on H.26 for that's MP4. So this one is preset. The preset is determining where is this video going to. Sometimes if it's just normal video, you can leave it on match sequence bitrate. Just leave it that way, high bitrate. So, but if you're doing it for a particular purpose, probably YouTube, you just come here and find YouTube. YouTube is here, and you select YouTube. If you're doing it for a particular Facebook, you can. So if you're doing this thing for probably YouTube, just come on that preset, select YouTube. But at the same time, you can still leave it on normal match sequence, high bitrate. You leave it that way to maintain the same thing it came with. You can post it. It doesn't stop you from posting it anywhere. It doesn't stop you, but it may have a higher MB or lesser MB depending. So you just go through it and then understand this. But from now, if you're doing this basically for social media purposes, I encourage one usage. You can use it in everything, whether Facebook, Twitter, anywhere at all. What I suggest you do is you can leave it either on match sequence bitrate, or you click on that place and come to mobile device to 720p HD. That's full HD quality. With this, most people these days they watch. Most people, we have more than 70% of people that make use of their phones to watch things on social media. So I'm rendering it based on those people that have this kind of reach. But at the same time, you can still leave it on your high bit rate. You get your match sequence high bit rate. It doesn't matter. But make sure you are using this. If it's online, make sure you're using this, the format to be H.264. All right, now I'm taking my time just to make sure I teach you this. Next one is your output name. So click on the output side, that place, and then select the location you want your work to appear. Make sure you select that place that you first you saved all your work, so that things will be easier for you as you go, so that your work will not be saving different areas. So you just do that, put the name you want. Then under the audio, make sure under the audio side. Now if you watch, after that you see export audio, export video. Yes, export audio. If you want to export only the audio, you just click on this video side. If you watch, the video has disappeared. It will only export the audio. The video has separated. It will only export the audio. If you want to export just the visual, you click by the other one. Just remove the audio aspect. The video will only export. So be careful with all these things so you don't make errors in this. So if you don't know who you watch your video, please under the video section here, make sure you click on, go back and take this bitrate to 320 so that every device can be able to play your video without any challenge. Now if it's a short video, let's say a short video, and you want the quality to you have all the time to render the video, you can come here and check this, use maximum render quality. This will enable you to, it will take more time to render the video, but it's going to give you the maximum quality that you need for your video. Then import into project. If you check this back, what it means is immediately after this is finish exporting, let it import back into the sequence. Now set the time coder. So this is basically what you need, basic settings you need for this. Once you're done with this, you come to last time, you see estimated file size. This is 223 MB. Let's assume I change this thing to match sequence from 23 MB now is now 37 MB. So the settings you select may actually have a higher effect or MB on your video. So you have to practically look into this and know the best you need. That's all. So once this is done, you come here and click on what? Export, to export your video. But if you click on Q, there's a software called Media Encoder. Media Encoder is a rendering software that enables you to render your video. You can be rendering on that Media Encoder while you are still working in Premiere Pro. But for now, we are focusing on Premiere Pro. Let's click on Export. It's going to calculate your time, and once it's done calculating your time, it's saying estimated time remaining 6 minutes. So once it's done calculating your time, the video will be exported and you see the final result. So guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. Please, I will be doing more tutorials on this. You can ask me questions anywhere you feel like I should work on more, any area you feel like I should throw more light on. Feel free to ask me questions. You get, I believe these tutorials, it took me time to put the tutorials up for you. The 1,000 naira you paid is not really much to it, but I want you to take your time and understudy this tutorial and then learn it the best you can. God bless you. Thank you so much. Please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel.